Hello hunters! Today we're diving into some of the early game items that every hunter needs before leaving camp. Additionally, we're going over some of the gathering points you might have missed and how to reach them. Whether you're a veteran hunter or new to the franchise, this video will be one part loadout tutorial and one part item crafting guide. Even if you have most of this in your box already, many of these items will be staples in your pouch throughout the entire game. Alright hunters, let's start from the beginning. Early in the Monster Hunter franchise, there was a much heavier emphasis on gathering items while out on the field. There were even quests just to gather materials to help you against the next big monster quest in the village. Especially now where a lot of this has been shortened with pre-order bonuses, item packs, and OBT rewards, we start off with this nice tidy nest eggs of early game items. Nevertheless, if you have room in your pouch, you should still be grabbing just about every item you come across. Almost every material in Monster Hunter will have a use or become useful in crafting later game items. The problem with this, however, is you'll quickly realize just how small your pouch really is. So we'll start with the loadout itself, each of the item's effects and their usefulness, and then pivot over to sourcing the raw materials for them. This way you'll be equipped for your fights, but then know exactly what items to source when you start to deplete your stores. First and foremost, a hunter can't hunt on an empty stomach. You should be eating before every hunt, or at the very least, ensure you have enough time on your meal buff left for the coming fight ahead. Going through the main story quests, I can't tell you how many times the cutscenes threw me into a fight I wasn't expecting, and my meal buff ran out in the middle of the fight. The primary buffs increase both your health and stamina bars. Later on in the game, secondary effects like elemental resistance or food skills will become more important. All you need to know for now is you should get into the habit of eating before each hunt. The second part of preparedness is your loadout. These items are musts for every single hunt. Potions. Potions are an important part of keeping your HP topped up so you don't cart. Pretty simple, right? Now here's what's going to throw you for a loop. Don't use them. You heard me right. Don't use them. In addition to this, bring honey, a material not entirely valuable on its own, but this is going to work in combination with potions mid-fight. The reason for this is mega potions. These are the potions worth using. They heal a substantial amount of HP and are often the workhorse of a hunter's healing kit. These are what you'll be relying on in most fights, but for any hunter who's been out on the field for a long time, or maybe you're just not familiar with the given monster you're hunting, you do run the risk of running out. Totally a skill issue, but it does happen to the best of us. The honey and potions you have in your pouch can be crafted on the fly by using a mega potion again, even after you've run out. This is a handy way to bring a total of 20 mega potions out on the field with you at any given time. Then there's max potions. The number of these you can carry in your pouch is pretty limited, but they are incredibly handy. Not only do they restore your entire HP bar, they also lengthen your HP bar to its max. Remember when I mentioned my cooking buffs running out? Both HP and stamina decrease, and the max potion can get your bar back up to where it needs to be. More important than that, however, is the fact that the animation for using a max potion is drastically shorter than that of drinking a potion, and is clutch for preventing a cart in a tense fight. And then Catalyst and Mandragora, these items are kind of like a honey. They don't do anything of value on their own, but due to the limited number of max potions you can carry in the hunt, you can craft them on the fly to replenish the max potions you've used. Well done stakes like max potions will restore your missing HP bar if it ever goes below max. Additionally, it'll also restore your stamina bar, just as if you had your meal buffs. This is a safer way of making sure you have maxed out health and stamina bars on the field without running the risk of cooking mid-fight. Flash pods are slinger ammo that will get you out of a bind real quick. Whether the monster is up in the air and you can't hit them, or you've been grabbed by a new Udra, the flash pod will disrupt whatever the monster is doing at that given moment. Although stock is limited, so is the pod's effectiveness. The monster will become resistant to the flashes if overused, so it's best to hold on to them for when they're absolutely needed, but clutch in a pinch. Armor Skin and Demon Drug are two buffs that go hand in hand. They're essential in providing flat boosts to your defense and raw attack respectively. There's no drawbacks to using them, and you'll be relying on them for every single fight in the post-endgame. Get in the habit of using them now. Additionally, the effect of these items stack with other armor and attack boosting items such as Might Pill or Hardshell Powder, making for powerful buffs that can easily turn the fight in your favor. Next are items that are situational based upon the monster you're fighting. Wild Jerky is a handy item that increases the rate at which you restore HP. If your health bar has a portion that is in red or yellow, your green bar will auto heal over time at a faster rate. Primarily, however, this will benefit hunters by curing bleeding. Bring Jerky against monsters that can inflict bleed. Next, some monsters can inflict elemental blights like Fire Blight or Dragon Blight. These are easily remedied with a quick Nullberry to get you back into the fight. Antidotes are handy because poison saps your HP quite quickly in wilds. Having an antidote to cure it ensures that you don't have to mitigate the HP loss by burning through your potions. Use against monsters that inflict poison. Cleansers will remove frost and webbing buildup on the body. The effect of both will drastically impair mobility and leave you vulnerable to the monster. Use a cleanser to break free. And then deodorant. And while I recommend every gamer learn the values of personal hygiene and wearing deodorant, wilds only requires it when you face a monster that inflicts Blast Blight or Stench. Unlike the Nullberry that handles elemental blights, Blast Blight isn't an element. Carry when in the presence of that one friend who farts a lot? Probably. Last, we have traps, which are certainly useful in the fight, but better for when you intend to end it by trapping the monster instead of killing it. Only one of each trap can be carried at a time, and there are 2 traps, meaning you have a total of 2 traps in your pouch. When the monster's icon shows a skull or it starts limping away, you can drop a trap to immobilize it. This goes hand in hand with tranquilizers, which you will need to end the fight. You can carry tranq bombs, ammo, or blades to effectively do the same thing. And there are a few honorable mentions that didn't quite make the list, and I'll go through that now. First are nets, trap tools, and flashbug phosphors. These can be used to craft traps on the fly if you've used up the ones in your inventory. They're certainly handy, but the reality is that a monster becomes resistant to traps in the same way that it does flash pods if they're overused. Additionally, the environment is rich in traps that you can fall back on in a pinch, so save your flashbug phosphors for creating flash pods instead. And the second honorable mention is the Gloam Grass Bud. You should pick up one of these every time you encounter it. Trust me, you'll thank me later. So now let's pivot to foraging for these materials. The easiest way to know where to gather an item is to use the map. There's this handy little filter option where it'll display the available resources out on the field to go gather. Bear in mind, this is only useful for current gather points, and the number or availability of a given item to filter by is dependent on the season, time of day, and whether or not you've explored that area already. Once you finish gathering, there will be a countdown timer to indicate how long before the gathering point becomes available again. This is great for long expeditions out on the field where you're simply gathering items for your stockpile. For all the items I mentioned, almost all of them can be gathered right from the Windward Plains. In fact, herbs, ivy, honey, flashbug phosphors, godbug essence, bitterbug broth, antidote herbs, fire herbs, and nullberries can all be found in areas 7, 8, and 10, right out the front door of the base camp. The sleep herbs and perish rooms are here as well, just in limited supply. Personally, I prefer to gather them from the Scarlet Forest, which you'll have access to quite early in the game, but it never hurts to gather them when you see them in the Windward Plains. Perish rooms show up at the Oasis in Area 13, the sleep herb in Area 10 on the way to the Scarlet Forest. The 2 items that are a little tricky but well worth the expedition are both the adamant seeds and the mandragora. Adamant seeds can be located past a little crevice in Area 17 outside of Raydow's nest. There are 3 gather points here, mining points, and a nullberry as well. The mandragora, however, only has 2 gathering points in the plains, one of which is relatively hidden away against a rock structure. You can glide down to it or climb up from the other side if you know where to look. Additionally, you can also place a pop-up tent here for easy access. Any of the herbivorous monsters will serve as your source of raw meat, which you can use your portable grill to cook into well-done steaks. These are common to any location you may be in at any given moment. Last, both the trap tools and the wild jerky can be purchased by the provisions manager at any of the base camps, regardless of which biome you're in. Finally, for your demon drugs are mite seeds. You'll have to wait until you find them in the oil well basin where they're quite plentiful. Thankfully, it's not too long before you get there for your first time. However, There is a handy little trick you can use to get demon drug attack boost if you're willing to carry a bowgun for your secondary weapon. Equip the bowgun, bring dragon ammo, which will create a dust cloud you can simply run through. It will give you the same benefits as if you'd used demon drug and can tide you over until you start collecting the mite seeds you'll need. Last are chill shrooms and hot peppers, which can be located in the oil well basin and ice shard cliffs respectively. Thankfully, you won't need hot or cold drinks until you reach either of these biomes, and they're so plentiful you won't need a guide to find them. Just keep your eyes peeled and snag them when you see them. And that about does it. Your starting guide for your Monster Hunter Wilds item loadout and where to source the materials to craft the items if you run out. But what about you? What items do you prefer to carry? What items would you recommend instead? And for the veteran hunters, are there any tips or tricks you can share with our fellows in the 6th Fleet? If you've enjoyed this video, there will be a playlist of other Monster Hunter videos I've done to date where you can watch the journey of all the things I predicted for Wilds long before they were officially announced. Alternatively, there's a video handpicked just for you, so please leave a like on the video to help the channel out, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I'm Jade, and I've been covering Monster Hunter Wilds since its announced at TGA 2023. It's been an incredible journey thus far, and now that the game is released, we all get to embark on it together. As always, my friends, may the Sapphire Star guide your way. I'll see you in the comments below.